Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to an exciting SME Talent Week. A week-long virtual learning and sharing platform to help you with your talent challenges and crack the talent code to achieve substantial growth. I'm Bhumika, your host for this session, and it gives me immense pleasure to begin today's webinar with Ms. Shakun Khanna and Mr. Vivek Purikar on striking the right candidate experience, brought to you by Oracle. I briefly set the context before we move on to the session. Growing organizations focus on scaling up exponentially, an important area that may break or make the deal in this fiercely competitive talent market, candidate experience. Today, join this exciting webinar that discusses the tenets of creating a delightful experience, common sense to avoid, and its business impact. Also take the opportunity to welcome the speakers for the session, Mr. Shakun Khanna and Mr. Vivek Purikar. Starting with Shakun. Shakun is a Senior Director, HCM Strategy and Transformation with Oracle. Shakun is a seasoned business leader with almost 20 years of specific expertise in HCM consulting industry with SME capability in talent management, engagement, and performance optimization, executive coaching, leadership, and organizational development. We have Mr. Vivek Purikar, who is the Vice President and Global HR Head at HCM Solutions. With over 25 years of experience in human resources, his expertise includes driving HR strategies, change management, employee motivation, leader development, talent acquisition, and engagement for medium large organizations. With HCM Solutions, Vivek leads global human resources function. It is to have you both with us, and thank you for taking out your time to share your views for the SME Talent Week. We will take up as many questions as possible at the end of the session. You can also use hashtag SME Talent on social platforms to share your learnings. So without any further delay, I'm going to hand over the microphone to Shakun. Over to you.
Thank you, Ika, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start with wishing everybody a very happy Valentine's Day. We are going to talk about striking the right kind of candidate experience. I think today is just about the day to be talking about that. I welcome you all. Who on mute, please? I think you're not on mute. I take this opportunity to welcome a friend, Vivek. As Bhumika mentioned, he is the Vice President of Human Resources for Senior Solution globally, and will be sharing his perspective on some of the stuff that we are talking about. Now, we are from mostly HR background, and it is very important and critical for us to understand that the current world that we are living is very, very different from what it used to be about 20 or 30 years ago. It is being said that the talent storm is here. And when we talk about talent storm, there are some very glaring statistics that kind of, give us sleepless nights. Almost 59% Indians are likely to seek job changes in this next coming 1 year, which is a staggering number. If we look at organizations' ability to retain people as well as attract their people in this fiercely competitive market would be extremely difficult. 40% of the baby boomers will exist in the next 4 to 7 years, the workforce. I would be happy to retire myself, situation is conducive. Then leaves us with a huge amount of shortfall in the overall talent within the market, specifically the or experienced workforce. When we talk about millennials and we talk about relatively younger generation of workforce, a whole of them are interested in the gig economy, which essentially means people are not really looking at full-time 9-to-5 kind of jobs, but they are more excited about opportunities that will give them short-term assignments, so they're able to spend more time elsewhere. there. While this problem for the employer remains, almost 40 million shortage is reported by the McKinsey Global Institute by the year 2020 in the workforce. The workforce is becoming very, very choosy. In fact, Glassdoor anticipates that almost half of the job seekers are raising reviews even before they have started job search. So without any kind of active participation from the recruit organization, half of the people's opinions and perceptions are already colored. In today's world, if you look at the way technology is changing, it is completely revamping the way we need to look at the whole aspect of talent acquisition within the kind of experience that we are giving to the candidates. In fact, the usage of mobile devices has reached staggering levels. 80% of job seekers say that they would use a smartphone. And trust me, people who don't may not be really relevant in today's market because they may not be the right kind of talent. In fact, today, when we look at it, almost 1 in 5 job search is starting on the mobile device. Completely from a mindset perspective, it is completely changed. The whole game of talent acquisition is significantly different today. Probably when I started my career or Vivek would have started the career, it was very, very employee-centric game. It has become completely candidate-centric. From those days where getting a job was a privilege for a candidate, today being accepted by a candidate is a privilege for an organization. So we've completely revamped and completely come on the other side of the spectrum. Employees are not employees anymore. More and more we see that employees are new customers. I got off a very interesting definition which says that employees are customers who buy opportunities from organizations they choose using the currency of talent. And it's a chicken and egg kind of a story. The people talented today are very aware of their talents, they have the value of their talents, and any other valued customer seek some unique experiences before deciding which organization they will buy that opportunity. And then about buying those opportunities, these are extremely clear. Some of these numbers, 50% of the people say that they will not work for a bad employer even if they were not employed. Not about that one of those days that whatever job comes to me, I will take it. But a large majority of people are very, very choosy about who they choose to work for. Almost 1 in 4 candidates say that you have had a bad experience, not let others who matter to them in their life even apply. So one bad impression is going to have a ripple effect. It will snowball into a much larger inability of an organization to attract the right kind of talent. That is very critical. People want to know more about what makes your company attractive. Remember the concept of USP in old selling days? That's what people want to ask today. Why should I come and join your company? No, why should I select you? So the question has completely changed. Needless to say, organizations have become candidate-centric, and of course we have Nick here from Simeo who has seen a lot of success in shifting this entire paradigm of being employer-centric to candidate-centric. You have seen humongous amount of benefits coming in, which I will request him to share in just a couple of more minutes. What we are clearly seeing is that a large number of organizations, 24% to be specific, are today investing in their career side. Now, it's probably the first step towards enhancing the candidate experience. But in reality, when we talk about candidate experience, the world has moved towards an expectation of a hyper-personalized candidate experience. Now, what do I mean by hyper-personalization of the candidate experience? From the pre-hiring to the onboarding stage, the entire duration or entire life cycle of recruitment is where candidate is constantly evaluating the person with the particular employee based on his or her experience. From how he or she comes to know about the particular opportunity, what is the process of the application, who referred, who has not referred, what the world talking about your particular organization or the particular role within the organization that matters. And like e-commerce shopping site, candidates expect to be spoon-fed all the information that they need, So when looking at know about the organization, they may not be interested in knowing just about everything. We need to understand what is that specific thing that they will need to know so that can be given in a bite-sized communication to them, very, very specific, very, very direct. Interview scheduling is happening today. More people are choose when they will appear for an interview or which communication they will choose. So from a candidate experience perspective, it's extremely critical that our recruitment process is kind of taking care of all that. And of course, onboarding, simple little thing like how many times do I have to register? How many times do I need to submit my documents? All these things contribute significantly to the overall experience of the candidate, or in this case, I would say the customer who's wanting to buy a particular opportunity to work, whether it will be with our organization or not, it will largely depend on the kind of experience that we are creating. So while the next hygiene, a job interview that cannot be enabled through mobile, or any job opportunity that is not visible on social, not necessarily fetch the right kind of audience. So it is extremely critical. As I said earlier, 80% of the people are seeking opportunities on the mobile, and if a particular organization or a particular opportunity is not on the mobile devices, then a lot of opportunity to get the right kind of candidates are missing. And when we are talking about this kind of hyper-personalized candidate experience, having the kind of analytics and reporting around the various channels that we are using as an organization becomes a critical success imperative. So the question comes, how do we optimize this entire process and the whole process will reach the talent? In fact, we talk about enhancing employee experience or candidate experience. The first thing comes is, how do you enhance the experience of your own employees for two specific reasons? One, that was internal mobility. So rather than people wanting to look for opportunities outside, how can we enable and give them seamless experience to be able to understand and fill out opportunities within the organization? A significantly large proportion of organizations, specifically in larger organizations, are aware of the career opportunities that are there. They tend to seek them outside. In organizations, it is still relatively easier because of the size and scale, but as the complexity of operations is increasing, the workforce is becoming more flexible, I think we'll have to look at very specific ways and means to be able to leverage the internal talent. Ways of using internal talent is essentially how much can we drive social referrals. The people are the people in the social circle of your top performers. What strategy for an organization to reach them? And so, from a prospective candidate's perspective, if you look at it, who is playing a very, very important role in defining the entire experience. So, technology, having systems and processes that will enable that without a lot of effort will be extremely critical. And the current side is the first place, so when you have done everything to fish for the right talent across career, the social media portals, various sources of getting referrals, the first level of engagement or first experience with the organization happens with the career side, and that becomes very, very critical. In fact, we talk about reaching the 80% of the talent leaders say that employer branding will have a significant impact on the candidate experience. 62% people are using company website to build that particular employer brand. And she is one of them, and I'll request Vivek to share his views. But what's really concerning is that only 20% people are really collaborating with the marketing and communications team. So when we are talking about giving a customer kind of experience to the candidate, unless and until we have the right kind of marketing and communication inputs with the specialized job of the marketing teams, it's not going to really work. I pause here, and Vivek, I'll invite you to share some of your experiences around employer branding, specifically. And I understand that you are also in a journey to revamp your systems, and you come with like Genpact, which are probably thought leaders in this space. So please share some of your views, Vivek.
Thanks, Shakun, and thanks, Bhumika. Very interesting. When we looked at this particular topic, it actually touches the day-to-day life of a talent acquisition team or the talent engagement team. I have the last 25 years, and I've seen the complete change that has happened over the years. And I was leading hiring in NIIT. What we do now, it's completely from an employer-centric, as rightly put forward by Shakun, move from an employee-centric to a candidate-centric kind of a model that has been evolved. One step forward, in a sense, is a customer experience, and what I'm seeing now, the signs is more from a customer-centric, a customer experience to what I would say a consumer kind of an experience. All the candidates that we come across these days, every interaction with the organization, each and every instance that they get, they interact with anybody from the organization, not limiting only to the HR team. They expect a consumer feel kind of an experience in their interaction. May it comes to first level telephonic interviews, or then personal interviews, or anything interaction. May it comes to upload, or when it comes to submitting the documents, they are looking for an experience which is a consumer kind of an experience. When they talk to people, when they talk to employees of the organization, each and everybody looks into that kind of an experience. I think a customer experience and moving towards a consumer kind of an experience is something which is extremely critical. Now that puts negative challenges on the organization in terms of how do you do the processes, especially considering the millennials, which buzzword these days, especially considering the millennials. You find in processes, how do you give that wow kind of an experience? Timio, we have definitely looking at to create a wow experience in terms of attracting talent, in terms of retaining talent through optimizing our processes. All right. So that is something that we are looking at. We are away from, we are evolving organization. Average age in our company is what, 23, 24? Talking to our employees and getting them talk about us outside. So that's how we have to really look at through an automated test.
I think, Vivek, you've hit the nail on the head when you say that it is about creating a customer, standard kind of an experience. I think that is very, very critical. In fact, we are talking about, the customer experiences. The most important thing would be how are we delivering, how are these jobs delivered? Can we, like, I still remember that if you browse on Amazon or Flipkart for a particular shoe, and then the shoe is following you all over the place on internet wherever you are, and it's a hyper personalization kind of an example. Can we create that kind of an experience for a prospective talent to be able to get those delivered, jobs delivered to them? simplify the application process. Number of clicks. Today, in their experience as a customer, they are not used to multiple clicks, multiple submissions, multiple phone calls, multiple phone rounds. Everything is handy, everything is very quick and digitized these days. So we create that kind of an experience for them. And of course, process automation, the frequency of communication, the scheduling. Today, when we talk about hyper-personalization and customer kind of an experience, unless and until you have the right kind of technology to be able to support that, it's manually not possible. So it will be a very critical thing that what kind of a platform you are using and kind of overall experience that you create. Once the process is taken care of, I think the next important piece would be how we welcome the new employees. The initial, again, like research shows that the decision of purchase is made in first few seconds or first few interactions when it comes to selling something. But in the experience also, the initial few hours will define how the person is going to stay organization, or in some cases whether the person will show up the next day or not. It's very, very critical. Again, very, very streamlined onboarding process, things like paperwork, signatures. Most of what our research shows is that most of the frustration is essentially around duplication of work. I have submitted my resume, which has all the important information. Now, at the joining, the organization wants me to do all once again. I feel cheated. I feel distressed. I don't feel happy about it. That's the first moment of truth when it comes to the candidate experience that we are talking. So that will be very, very critical. And the, I would say, a little bit triggered part of the compliance piece, So sometimes while we have done everything, the moment it is handed over from a compliance perspective, either to a government body or to some department, the experience has to be seamless. So how do you ensure that? Now, the very, very critical and important thing, getting the right kind of insights across this process would also be very critical in terms of, what does our talent pipeline look like, because as we are talking about experience, a whole lot of drop is also happening. It's like a bucket which is constantly leaking, so that's very critical. So we've all realized that having the right kind of insights, not just about the aggregated experience of overall employees, like a typical new hire survey would talk about, but also having insights about each individual candidate from a hiring manager's perspective, from a recruiter's perspective is also very, very critical. What are some of your experiences around tracking a particular prospective employee across this journey of his or her conversion from being a active candidate to an onboarded employee? What have you seen, and what is it that you guys are doing to make sure that is unique and wonderful?
Great, that's a great question, and that's a probably I hope all those attendees would correlate to this, and I'm sure they must be facing these particular challenges in their day-to-day life. For a medium and a medium-sized organization which is doing a specialized and niche work, any organization like ours, this talent comes in from large organization or again comes in from niche organizations from market. Now, talent is something which is hidden in the organizations, and we have to reach out to those set of employees through which ways and means. One of the things that we should be looking at is how do we reach out to them through the social circles? How do we reach out to them through the referrals? And where again a key thing comes in. Reach out to that particular talent which is in the corner somewhere in the organization, give them a wow kind of an experience and give them an engaging experience. Essentially it talks about how I can retain that particular talent to my organization. Is once you reach out to them, and what they're looking at is the kind of work that we do, the skills, how this organization is perceived socially. So and I remember you had put in a slide on social reviews, like Glassdoor and others, people to these particular reviews in terms of their decision to be part of the organization or not. My suggestion and request to each and everybody is look at those reviews, give those, respond to those reviews on Glassdoor, respond to those reviews on LinkedIn or Facebook or any other social site that you use. We are looking at Twitter as one of the key driver of attracting and engaging with the talent. That's something that we are looking at in our organization. And we feel that modern talent acquisition is coming to us. The millennial talent is coming to us for the work that we do. More, how do we explain that work that we do? How do we explain and put forward our proposition to the candidate? That is something that we are looking at.
That's a very interesting thing because, when we talk about an organization's ability, specifically in the context of rapidly growing, relatively smaller organization, we have to poach that talent from much larger and established organizations. So the initiative here is, as you very rightly said, have a very candidate-centric approach, and also because most of our organizations are rapidly growing, have a framework that is flexible as well as extensible, because you want to dilute the culture as your skill is growing, so you need to have something that is future ready. And like you very rightly said once again, Vivek, that having the insights, what people are saying on Glassdoor or what people are saying in social media or what people are saying about their experience the initial days will be very, very critical. So that, I think, kind of in a very quick nutshell, 30-minute kind of a thing, what some of the 2 or 3 most critical things when it comes to modern talent acquisition, specifically leveraging the state experience. Now, we are just on the hour, but Bhumika, over to you. We have a couple of questions or some of them. I'm happy to take a couple of them.
Thank you, Shakun, and thank you, Vivek. This was indeed a very insightful presentation, and I'm sure our listeners would benefit and would be able to leap ahead in their craft. We will now move on to questions. We have received a lot of questions from our listeners. So the first question is from Yogesh Amarnani. He wants to ask, how should a new company onboard new development talent?
This, or you need to answer this?
Well, that's Shakun, and I will definitely pitch in, and I would bring in the practical experience.
When we talk about right, so we will have to look at 3-4 things. During the process of attracting the talent, there are certain promises or certain expectations that have been created in the mind of the candidate. My one sense there would be to make sure that all those expectations are met to start with, and see how you can delight that particular candidate far and above from what was kind of committed. And I think that you may have an example or two of this.
See, for a new organization, and I believe that's a question for a new organization, or how to build a team around. We have to look at what kind of we have for a candidate, and how do you put forward in a crisp way to prospective candidate, and again a delightful experience on a process. We don't want to make everything cumbersome, or we don't want to make everything which is too a low of information. It all depends on how I put forward my service offering, which will attract the talent to me. How do I give an experience through my processes, which are simpler, which are user friendly, which is a delightful thing for an employee or for a prospective candidate. My recommendation is for a new team that you are trying to build up. My suggestion will be to a simpler user-friendly process give the process should talk about the USP of the organization. The process should talk about clearly the culture of organization. We are in my earlier organizations in Genpact and in IIT, and we are doing that, looking at to do here in CMEO in terms of are we taking the talk of our service offerings, simpler business processes, simpler hiring processes, and true reflection of the work that we do. That will be the key for you, Yogesh.
Right. Thank you, Shakun and Vivek, for this answer. I'll move on to the next question, which is Bhavna wants to know the thoughts on compensation irrespective of what is the size of the company.
I'll take that. Yeah, compensation is at the end of the day, everybody works for money, right? But then there is something which is beyond that. I think for staff organization or for organization that's fairly young, comp does make a difference, and you may have to depend the kind of business that you are in, the kind of availability of talent in that particular area. For key talent, I think you may have to loosen up your purse a bit. But the focus of this organization to be necessarily developing an internal talent through hiring a fresher, all right, hiring a fresh talent from colleges and campuses. You see, what I truly believe, and this is and these are proven examples. Home cooked food is always better than ready-to-eat food. Ready-to-eat food will have your body, will have some other kind of an impact on your body. But then home cooked food will always have will always lead to a healthy body. Yes, compensation plays a lot of role. Talent, give them a good experience, give them a good compensation for that particular select talent, but manage that with having a fresh campus talent and have a right kind of a ratio of these two. And I think then in that case, Bhavna, you will be able to sail through in that.
Answer. I will, we are almost out of time now, and I would be taking just one last question before we close. This question is by Satish. He wants to know, do you feel that developing our company website will be better than developing our career pages on social media sites?
I think both is equally important. What employees or candidates are looking at is whether it is your company website or career microsite on your company website, or what you do in LinkedIn and Facebook, others, are consistent, and are you talking the same thing everywhere? If candidate feels that there is a difference, if candidate feels that there is a difference of what you the way you portray on LinkedIn or your company website or career microsite, naturally there will be some there will be bound to leading some questions kind of a thing. You be consistent. The content needs to be same. The message that you're giving to prospective candidates has to be consistent and crisp and clear in whenever you are interfacing with the candidates.
Thank you, Vivek. Unfortunately, we are out of time now, and we will have to end our Q&A here. One people matters and the viewers today. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying that thank you all for joining in, and if you have still got some more questions, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter or on the People Matters website.
Sure, yeah, helpful. So on behalf of People Matters and the viewers, I would like to thank you, Shakun and Vivek, for sharing insights with us. I would also like to thank the viewers for joining in today for this engaging session. I know all of you would have taken away some key learnings from the session. feel free to write into us about what you thought and what your key learnings were. You can also use hashtag SME Talent on social media to share your learnings. The session today is Creating the Right Path for SMEs to Get into a Big League by Vern Harnish at 3:30 p.m. Do make sure you join in and continue your SME Talent Week learning journey. Thank you all, everybody, and have a great day.
Thanks, Bhumika. Thanks, People Matters. Thanks, Shakun, and thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.